Hi guys, this is a video request on the topic of medallions and relics, mainly for the new players. My apologies for taking a while to get this done because it does take a while to compile the information, vet it through and making sure that it is useful to you. So I've come up with a nice pack for you talking about the medallion, about the relics, and especially for those new to the game, sometimes you like to get some guidance as in like, should I be equipping these relics, where should I farm certain medallions and so on. So this is for you. But before we go on, my wife Cynthia has done an illustration on me playing this game or doing number crunching, and well, I mean, this is very much like in real life. That's what I do behind the scene, because you only see this part of the what's going on, but there's a huge mic there, there's a lamp there for the light and so on. So and space in this part of the country is. In this part of the region is quite a constraint, so yeah, I mean, there's a small computer table, all right? So now, before you decide on your medallion or relics, the most important thing is to know your tags from your power that you've chosen, because some say melee, some say ranged. Then you have the either it's physical, energy, or mental. Those tags are important because that would you have to decide what gear to use based on these tags and damage types as well. Then of course the second thing you'd like to know is where does your damage come from, because not usually you can have a pure range or pure melee or pure damage type. So sometimes you have a little bit of both. And the if you've been following my videos, you know that, for instance, your spender, your main feeler that consumes spirit or resource, usually that account for about a third of your overall power output. And the rest of it, whether it's on your main tree or sub tree or so on, so you have to make some judgmental estimation as in where your damage comes from, and sometimes you have to make a decision when it comes to trade off which one to use. So the first priority when you pick any of these relics or medallion is that you like to benefit your entire build. And the and remember, when ranks aside, your plus maybe your rank is 50, which is the max, or a bit lower than that. The ranks aside, the average damage is actually a product of the normal damage and the crit and brutal component. So when you see a medallion that has both the the normal damage as well as the crit and brutal side to it, usually these are pretty good medallion. All right, so something to just keep your mind on, and when you decide which one to take, because I can't cover all the medallions here, and I do not intend to. All right, but I just would like to cover those main medallions that I usually keep it for my heroes. All right. First of all, let's talk about relics. Relics, you can stack it up to 1,000 pieces that you can stack it onto it, and the relics has a diminishing return. So if you have a stack of 250, you benefit the 50% of the maximum benefit. If you stack up to 500, you get about 70% of the maximum benefit. All right, but if you stack up to 100, of course, 1,000, of course, you get the max of it. It is a very painful exercise to unstack it, so make the decision early in your career or progress, because when you unstack a relics, you have to hold the shift key and drag and drop the relics onto another back slot. So if you make a mistake while the shift key missed, then you actually restack the whole stack back to the whatever you have. So it takes a while to unstack. It takes about 1 second for me to get one out carefully, and 1,000. Think about how long it will take, but it can be unbound. So even if you make a mistake, as in like, oh no, I shouldn't stack this whole put this stack of relics onto this hero, you can unbind them using one of the crafter option. It costs quite a fair bit, but it's fine. I mean, if you want to get a better relics for a hero, you can. So it's not like set in stone. All right. So now when it comes to relics, these are my preference, and and I've a tier here for you as well, because not all the relics are important to me. Some are pretty rubbish as of now, and the one higher up, of course, are the one that I always use. The one highlighted in yellow is the one that usually stack up to that kind of like a number. because of the demand and so on. So for example, for alternative reality, the relics, I stack up to 500 and it give me 18% summon ally damage, which is pretty decent. It is 500 because I play quite a fair bit, although not a lot like some of you guys. And but there aren't many summoners out there, so 500 is something I could just slowly collect. And but for melee, range, these are the one. Melee and range are the one that very good, because many heroes will have a pure. I mean, there are heroes that are pure ranged. A lot of them. There are quite a fair bit of heroes that are pure melee. So I play a lot of heroes. So my priority goes something like this. If a hero can utilize fully the melee or range, I give those Archguard and Xander to the hero. Right? There's no need to think, because if a hero that is melee or hero that's range, just give these two relics to them. The crit damage rating is for hybrid hero, at least for me, because when you have a hybrid that has straddle between melee and ranged, there's quite a lot of them. Then naturally, you'll pick something like a crit damage, because it will benefit both sides of the attack. All right. So yeah. So just remember, crit damage rating is for hybrid, while melee and range, give it to your hero that can benefit fully for your relics. So that is my rule, but that's not hard and fast rule, because at the end of the day, maybe you may not have enough relics for one type, so you just give to another. Bear in mind, you can bind, so as you collect more later on, you can just redistribute in whichever way you want. All right. As for Gimborim, which is a spirit, Iron Man can benefit spirit into change spirit or the suit power into damage rating. So I give a stat of 250 or 500 to Iron Man, but I mean, this day I don't really have a lot of spirit issue. The game has been changing to accommodate a lot of us who are into basic-less build. Previously, it was really hard to maintain some of the spirit management for a lot of heroes, but slowly it's getting better and better. Some of the traveling power require no spirit at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't really use that a lot, but when I do need to have that kind of like buffer in my spirits, then yeah, I mean, Gimborim is nice to have, but I'll go for a tier 1 relics first for my favorite heroes. I seldom use Gimborim these days. Life on hit, Numeria is to me, it's like a filler, because in as much as possible, I try to go for the damage rating. But the life on hit is fine. It's just the number is a little bit tiny compared to what you get from your costume core, because that will give you 400, right? So 11 and 111 life on hit. I mean, if your hero is struggling with the health and so on, then by all means, give the hero a regen. But this day you can get the health regeneration from hero synergy and or Omega system, so it is not as crucial as before. So yeah, I mean, the tier 1 is something that I will always consider giving to my hero first, but if I run out, then I go into tier 2. And now tier 3, those are important as well, but they are not as they're not as common as some of the other heroes. I mean, for a hero that benefit fully on area damage, the only one I have today on my roster is Dr. Doom, that you may check out one of his series, one of my video on him, that I managed to get everything, or mostly everything, on area damage. So yeah, I mean, that would be quite beneficiary to equip even 1,000, because I don't really have a lot of heroes that can use the area damage. I can put 1,000 to it, and the rest I can just go for tier 1 and tier 2. All right. Basic damage is something that is very peculiar, because like X23, you need to have basic. You can't live without basic. Vision melee version, you have to have basic. You can't live without. So well, since I mean, it's not really the best for them, but since that the power probably account for quite a fair bit of damage, and there are many heroes that use the basic damage, so I just give it to them. Not about max and mins, but it's about just utilizing what I have, because then I freed up other relics that I could give it to other heroes. All right. Damage over time as well is very situational. I haven't found a hero as of today that does 100% damage over time. I mean, even the spender, the main spender is definitely not a damage over time. So I don't know. I mean, main spender is 30% of the damage that you have. So I mean, take the cut of it, you probably be better off with others listed on tier 1. But if your hero is very, very heavy on damage over time, maybe you should consider give it to the hero. All right. Then you have the tier 4, which is the health and defense. Now, the Relics itself give you either 250, 500, or 1000 health, depending on how many stacks you have. You can get additional chandelier, not the song, chandelier. Chandelier give you 1000 health, and health has yeah, I mean, you can take a look at that as well if you would like to use the health. I don't think there's a diminishing return. I think there's a mistake there. It's basically yeah. So, but anyway, it's 250, 500, and 1000, I believe. So yeah, my mistake on that part. But I mean, this day I don't really have heroes that that's really crucial on the health. So I mean, I haven't really equipped any of a hero that require this one to survive, because these days the heroes are getting better and better with the unit review and so on. So, and health you can get it from other means as well. Defense is probably like a joke to me in this game. I mean, you can put 1581 defense onto the hero, and it's not going to help you to survive anyway. And the rest of it, I think, is more for PvP, because the thorn is very tiny. I believe these are per second, whatever. Yeah, so these are really tiny. Tenacity, you still get stunned, you still get jail. So move speed, yeah, probably is for people. But in this game, it's not like Diablo 3, whereby move speed is very important, whereby thorn is important. I mean, no, we have traveling power. So if you have, I mean, they may change the game. This may become awesome in some of these days. So I'll just stack it to 1000. So yeah, I mean, just focus on the tier 1 and 2. My apologies for this one. This one I have a mistake here, but you stack up to 1000 and 1000 anyway. So this 250, 500 to 1000. There's no diminishing return for this one. All right. So that is the Relics. Let's talk about the Medallion. When it comes to Medallion, the always get a cosmic version, because it has an extra 1+1 rank. Is that amount to about 320 damage rating for an averagely nicely geared hero. So that is better than the one that you don't have a cosmic version of it. So always get a cosmic version. That is important. Bear in mind that Medallion can be unbound and can be upgraded. So you unbind, you can purchase a recipe from Clear, from the Avenger Towers up north. There's an unbind a medallion. You need 200 cube shard. Cube shard can be farmed from the daily terminal, red and green. Each time you do it per day at your level, that you earned 1 cube shard, and so you get about what 21 or maybe per day. So within a week, you can comfortably get unbind a medallion kind of like recipe. It does require 400,000 credit to unbind a medallion. So just bear in mind, you have an option there. You can upgrade your medallion as well to grade 66, but bear in mind that some of the affixes will not be scaled up like the Sinister, those percentage one. So don't waste some of this recipe on those. So just bear in mind which one can be upgraded, which one cannot, and make sure that you have the maximum kind of near maximum kind of roll before you upgrade it, because otherwise it'll be a waste. All right. Medallion, some of them can be quite hard to come by, and the thing is that it cannot be re-rolled. So if you have a medallion that you'll be hunting for a long time, but the affixes are not great, so you have to either live with it or find another alternative. So something to bear in mind. So that's why in this part of the video, I'm not going to cover all the medallion, because that would be just crazy. You don't need that. But what I'd like to share with you, at least my experience when it comes to medallion farming, because there are some medallions that I will farm quite aggressively, because those are quite easy to farm, and once I get once it can be farmed, that can improve the affixes. That's how I do it. There are some medallion that's very hard to come by, which I'll keep, and some of them I would like to mention to you. I'm not going to mention everything. There are some that I'll just keep it for, I don't know, emergency when I can't find a medallion for a particular hero. But so far it's fine. So I would not mention all this like plan C. I'll mention plan B, those that hard to come by. But I do appreciate and treasure some of those. All right. So now, why medallions are important? So some of you may have seen some of my videos on the number crunching. Just an illustration to you, like for my hybrid Iron Man all geared up. You can see that different various, of course, Iron Man is physical energy, majority on physical, and majority on and also I think high percentage on melee. So you can see different medallion. I usually go for a roll that I have, because there's no point analyzing max roll, because how are you going to farm, say, a max Grim Reaper or Lady Deathstrike? You have to do like tons of cosmic midtown patrol to try to get even one medallion, not about max. So I don't analyze max. There's no point for me. I always analyze what I have, and I encourage you to do the same as well. So I've gone through some of this, and some of these can be quite substantial. I mean, by the way, I mean you see all these 2.7%, 2.3%, 2.9%. Those are pretty good numbers. Well, to get that percentage increase for a gear hero is quite good. But I mean, you can see that some of them can really have a good jump on the whole build, especially if you are playing hybrid as well. So even if you can't benefit fully on the physical damage rating, like for Iron Man, because of the brutal strike and brutal damage rating, it can come up to quite a big number. So what I try to tell you and share with you is that medallion matters, and picking the right medallion matters even more. All right. Another example on Captain America. Now, Captain America is not that outliner, in the sense that it's not like Iron Man. There's a little bit hybrid, hard to quantify whatnot. Captain America is quite straightforward. The only thing about Captain America is that it does both melee and range as well, so I need to split the damage and so on. But you can see that picking the right medallion could mean another 2% increase, not that much. So there are other options out there to help, like physical and stuff like that. So I mean, there's a range there as well, not as big as the Iron Man, but there is. So I've gone through quite a lot of this. Some of you may have known that I play all heroes. Most of my heroes are all geared, not to the max yet. Some of them still, as I build guys, I give them better gear. So I have seen everything, right? So I do know, with some comfort level, that which medallion are good for what, and that's what this video is for, right? So I'm going to divide this last part of the video into two parts to it, part A and B. So part A is about my favorite medallion, part B is an honorable mention. Now part A of this video is, these are medallions that are relatively easy to farm. So like I said, it's easier to have better rolls, because if you can keep farming it, you can just keep getting better rolls and better rolls, all right? I can benefit all the common builds for all my heroes, because these have a very good coverage. All right, and it does pretty good stuff. It's not about max and min, because like you've seen on the previous slides, that really depends on the hero and the gear that the hero has, as well as the medallion you have. So it's not as easy as you think, that you go, oh yeah, I mean, I look at this medallion, it's great, I should use it. But then, the role may not be great as well, and farming that could be hard. I mean, right now there is a Big 10 event, or inside there's one of them, there's a Cosmic Chaos. So I encourage you to go and farm all these things, because the boss drop double, and just have fun, because who knows, that they may have better medallion coming up in this. So for me, in this sort of event, I'll start going into farm. I'll drop everything I do, like gearing heroes, making guys, and just to stock up on my medallion, because there's a high demand on medallion, especially good ones. All right. So the first one I would like to talk about is Curse. Curse medallion is fantastic. It's wonderful for melee hero. The number you see here, the 500 odd damage rating, is something that you'll see across quite a lot of medallion. But to have both the brutal and hit strike rating as well, those are very, very nice because it scale up, it multiply, and curse is very easy to farm. Everybody farm curse because of Gem of the Curse artifact. So you will end up have quite a number of curse medallion, and you can actually sell off those like 400 plus damage rating. Just keep those 500 and above. So that's what I do. I keep 500 and above, or I give those 450 and above to 500 to those heroes that I do not play very often, like Loot Cage and so on. But I still would like them to be pretty awesome when I play them for legendary quest. All right, so wonderful. Curse is wonderful. All melee hero can benefit from it, and even if you're a hero that does hybrid between melee and range, or even hybrid between the damage type, it could be a consideration as well, because if you calculate through your mathematics, 80% of your damage come from melee. It's still worthwhile to go for this curse medallion, because the pure raw damage is really high, as well as having a crit damage component to it, and brutal. All right. The next one that my favorite one is Kingpin. Now Kingpin doesn't have the crit and the brutal component of curse, so naturally you cannot compete. But the good thing about it is that it has a pretty high health. I like the health, because some heroes I may need the health to survive, and you may consider using this one if you find that you are struggling a little bit on the health side. And the Kingpin I farm quite a fair bit as well, because I like the one white suit, white jacket suit or white suit jacket. That is the artifact that has a very high, pretty high health, and as well as a pure damage rating that benefit all my hybrid heroes. So I value health because I do a lot of cosmic patrol, especially for those heroes that could be a challenge or struggle for them. So sometimes you have to drop some of the DPS a little bit and be realistic, because a lot of people tell me that, oh yeah, I follow a build, I couldn't survive in the cosmic patrol. But you have got to change your mindset. When you come to cosmic patrol, DPS is not king, survival is king. All right. Soccer. So physical power is actually quite hard to come by, I think. A good physical power. I mean, if your hero is doing range physical, it's actually there's not many medallion that suits you. So Shocker is one that it's not ideal, because you add up, it's about maybe about 500 damage rating, and that's it. You don't even have the health component to it. So it is not really ideal. Knockdown status is subjection, because a lot of heroes can knock down mobs. But the duration of knockdown usually is just a couple of seconds, less than that. So, and the extra buff to that is not that great. And but sometimes when you play the physical heroes and you don't really have the other artifact and so on, so Shocker is a very nice alternative. And Shocker is relatively easy to farm as well. It has one of the any hero unique. So yeah, I mean, that is something that you could consider. Magneto is very easy to farm as well, but it's only for those physical heroes that require the power spirit cost reduction. For example, Punisher benefit a lot from power cost reduction, and I don't know whether future hero will have it. It's very easy to farm. You can very easily get a max roll out from it. But just bear in mind the health cost can be very high, especially if you hit a lot. It just costs a lot of health. So yeah, you lose a lot of health when you hit with the power, and if your power actually hit quite a fair bit. I don't think there's a 1 second internal cooldown. It's so unfair in this game. Some of the procs is 1 second internal cooldown, some of them just don't. Okay, Pyro is one that I give it to. I mean, if I have an energy hero, I would without thinking much, I'll just give this one to all my energy hero. It's very easy to farm, just right in front of Magneto. My only complaint about this one is that the flat damage to energy is pretty low. That's my only complaint, because compare this one with the curse one. The curse has 500 plus on the physical, while this one only 270, and curse has both the crit as well as brutal as well. So it's not ideal for energy, but that is what energy can do have. Mental, on the other hand, is pretty fantastic, because a lot of mentals are not a lot. Most mental I played, like Emma Frost, if you go mental, or Scarlet Witch. It is a range hero anyway, so add the range to mental could end up to be 1,000 odd damage rating, which could be quite substantial. So that is quite good, but it doesn't have any crit component to it. That's fine. Sometimes you may get a wizard Wizard Medallion, and you got a very low 0 on the mantle, but very high roll on the range. Don't throw it away, because for ranged hero, it could be a stopgap, right? You can just keep it for your ranged hero and use it first until you get a better one, because 500 plus damage rating for range power is not bad as well. So if one of them is low 0, that's fine. Just keep it first, provided that one of the range one is high. All right. When Mr. Sinister is for the summoner, no dispute of it. Just get a 30% on the damage. Duration is not that important, but yeah, very easy to farm. Just get 30%. These days I like man apes as well. Man apes are a little bit harder to farm. It only spawns. You probably farm it on Cosmic Midtown Manhattan. I like man ape, although it's lacking 10% summon ally damage, but it has the brutal and crit component to it that can pass the pets as well. So these are pretty strong medallion as well. It all depends on your role, because it's very hard to get a man ape that is max roll. If you get one, then you probably would like to keep it to your hero that that you don't have the Sinister. Either one of them is fine. All right. The Hood. The Hood is very easy. Everybody farm Hood. It's one of those, if you farm for Omega Pawns, it's either Taskmaster, Octopus, or the Hood that you keep doing, because those are fastest for you to get the experience and come out. So the Hood has a really huge physical and mental as well. So for hybrid that's on physical and mental, like Ghost Rider, or even Psylocke, if you don't want to switch toggle to mental, these are good stuff to have. And it's quite easy to get a max roll for both anyway. So, but it is also a good stopgap, kind of like a medallion. If you are looking for a physical medallion, still haven't got a chakra yet, and if you get a really high roll for physical on physical side, your mental roll is very lousy. Keep it. It's good for your physical hero, all right? Green Goblin is a little bit hard to farm. You probably have to do a lot of cosmic patrols to get Green Goblin. It is good because again, the physical and the energy is pretty high. And another thing good about Green Goblin is that it has a health component to it. So heroes like Iron Man can benefit on the physical energy as well. If you play melee Iron Man, the health is good as well. So there's quite a lot of heroes that are on physical and energy. So do consider that as your
medallion. And as I said, if you get a bad roll on either one of them, so you got a very high roll on physical, very high or very high roll on energy, just keep the medallion, use it for your energy hero, use it for your physical hero until you find a better medallion. Alright, Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is not that easy to farm because it just takes quite long to get to him, and the whole phase 1 to 3 it takes a while to down him, but some of you may be farming for Hand of Doom and you may come across some of this Doom medallion. It is alright. Used to be better because the power duration used to mean a lot in this game, but I don't think power duration is that great these days. I mean, it doesn't affect your signature or ultimate. Anything that is great, they just nerf it. You can't use the power duration. So you equip it, you see whether the timing changes or not. And a lot of time I don't prefer time to change because it's about reapplying the damage over time. And sometimes, cooldown, I use the cooldown as a gauge to when to reapply. And with all this percentage, you get a little bit messed up. And whether I reapply 1 or 2 seconds earlier doesn't really help my, I can afford the spirit. But then again, it is a generic damage rating, so it's good for all hybrid heroes, and it has a comfortable health and spirit as well. So yeah, take it as it is. Okay, Black Cat, I just would like to mention it because it's also quite easy to farm. Black Cat in Cosmic Patrol. You don't really find a lot of hero using it, but if your hero does stealth, you may consider using it because it has both the damage rating versus the crit as well. And if you play a lot of group setting, it is useful. But if you play a lot of solo, you probably would not use this one because you can't get the 589 unless you are playing heroes that you keep on stealthing or keep on just disappearing from the whole view. Alright. MODOK is also another stopgap medallion. If you can't farm any of those prior to this one, and you say, okay, fine, I take because +2 ranks for Cosmic Medallion is important. So say, yeah, I mean, you just use a MODOK first, and it's very good for soloing. So if you solo all these like terminal whatnot, that 600 odd 700 damage rating is going to help. Right, and the taunt is, I don't have hero that does, I mean I have hero that do taunt, but I don't use the taunt function because it's just a waste of hotbar space. But I mean, when it's been taunt, then you get another 530% damage rating. So it's not a bad medallion as a stopgap. All right, so yeah, so that is, there are all the medallions that I personally would put in effort to farm and pay attention to, and to get a better roll out of it. I would like to mention the rest of the 7 medallions to you, because these are important medallions. This, if you have a good medallion, it can do a lot to the hero that you have, like you've seen some of the illustration. But these are very hard to farm, and hence getting good rolls can be challenging. So my favorite is Green Reaper. Is fantastic. I mean, I tested for any physical hero, or any physical hero that, or hybrid hero that does major physical, can benefit tremendously from Green Reaper. Because brutal and brutal damage is agnostic to the damage type, so even if you're a hybrid hero, that components will help your energy or mental as well. So this is a fantastic medallion, but farming this is very hard. So yeah, I mean, but if you are pure, if you are melee hero, then Curse still probably one of the better one out there, or at least they are, very, very similar. But if you are playing, physical hero, hybrid hero, that has a major physical power, Green Reaper is something that you would like to go for it if you can. But there are alternatives like Shocker give you the physical as well, Kingpin give you physical plus health as well, right? Bullseye is also one of those that are very hard to farm, at least from my perspective. I don't really have a lot of them, and it benefit a lot of, it benefit all heroes, of course. It depends on your roles. Hybrid hero benefit the most from there, because hybrid hero sometimes it's very hard to get the right medallion, and the crit damage component is pretty high for the bullseye. So something that you would like to keep an eye on, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have it. SpiderProne is something that I'm still trying to farm. It's extremely hard. I've done many industrial city patrol. I still can't find one. It is great because if you have the range and melee being proc together, you can have upside of like 500 plus damage rating. It's good for those that you have to hybrid between melee and range. It is really good. And it has a health component to it. So, but there are many alternatives. It's not the end of the world. You don't have it. All right. Tombstone is another one that's hard to come by, and it's pretty good. It is good because on top of the damage rating as well as the crit hit rating, it has a pretty good health as well. But it's if you are going for melee, it's probably easier to get a Curse Medallion, but it's something that you could keep in mind if you need the health component and you want to be use a better one than Kingpin, for instance. I mean, this one would be much better than Kingpin, all right? So alternatively, you can get a Curse. Sauron. So when you talk about the hybrid, I think physical energy and the physical mental, you have the hood as well as the other one to help you. So for the energy and mental, it's a little bit hard because you have to get Sauron. Sauron is very hard to come by. You have to do a lot of patrol to it, and it benefits the hybrid hero that does the mental energy, like Jeans, like Jean Grey, like Cable. But like I said, I mean, it's not the end of the world. There are others that you could use, like the minus Titan, if you go for pure range. Dot Doom is also one of the options out there, of course, but you lose quite a fair bit of other stuff as well. SpiderProne is one that you could think about. So, I mean, there are alternatives out there. But I mean, this is a pretty good medallion if you manage to get a good roll out from it. All right, minus Titan is one that is really nice for range. Unfortunately, it's so hard to come by because to wait for the minus Titan to spawn. Probably you wait for a long time. In Industrial City Patrol Cosmic version, and it takes a while to down him as well. If you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you just do something else. But it is really nice because it is like the you know, it has both the crit and brutal and the range as well, and the health as well. So yeah, I mean, as a range, this is wonderful, but it's so hard to come by. Madam Hydra is hard to come. It's quite hard to come by because you have to keep doing the Red Skull, the one shot terminal. So far I only have like, you know, 1 or 2 from it. Still better than SpiderProne. The good thing about it is that I think the 593 is fixed, so you always get a very nice roll. You always get a very nice, close to 600 damage rating, and it's great for all heroes, especially if you are on a red raid. You want to have some heroes within the group that has that proc the shield. But that's about it. I mean, you know, it's not something that I would use for my hero as a solo hero or whatnot, but it's something that I would consider using if I'm in a group environment or if I run out of medallions. All right. So that is the end of the video. I hope that is useful for the new players looking for some guidance as to like what relics and the medallion to use. Now, if you raid really hard, of course you have one of these guys that I think is one of the best medallion you can have in this game. So yeah, I mean, thank you for watching, and if you are interested in other guides, be as hero guide or new player guides or just game guide, there's a link on the description of the YouTube video there. Just click on that link and you can see a whole list of guide that could be useful to you. Ping me in the game and I'm happy to answer your queries. So until the next time we meet, I have some cosmic terminal to run right now. Bye.